Hey, I'm Jake Matheson from Minnesota.
Hey, I'm Ryan B. from Miami, Florida.
This is Sonar Eclipse coming live from Fort Lauderdale.
Hey, I'm Mitchell Gonzalez from Miami, Florida.
And this is the Local Sounds Podcast.
This is the Local Sounds Podcast.
Local Sounds Podcast.
My friend Taylor Davis.
My friend Taylor Davis.
My friend Taylor Davis.
Good evening, everybody out there. Welcome back to the final episode of my limited edition podcast series, Local Sounds. It's your good friend Taylor Davis. Before we go any further, I wanted to start off by thanking everybody that has supported this series so far and the overwhelming amount of outpouring the show's received since the very beginning. I shared the idea with the world not knowing what the feedback would be, but I knew that these were great songs, these artists were powerful individuals, and that the world needed to know about them. I also knew that the stories I share with these folks are ones that will stay in my notebook hopefully for a lifetime. If you just joined us for the first time, welcome. I'm looking forward to rattling your cages with some great music the next hour or so, and hopefully adding some great songs to your playlist from my friends all across the world. If you've been following this series since episode 1, so far you've heard 21 songs by 21 different artists all across the world. Tonight, you will hear a final 11 artists that cover music all over the spectrum, from the blues to hip-hop, acoustics, rock and roll, and more. So without any further ado, let's do this thing one more time. Tonight, we start with the trend that we've followed so far in this series, starting things off with a rock and roll band from New Jersey. Tonight, we'll do it again. The front man of this band is a longtime friend of mine, and somebody I've been across this country with 2 times already in the last couple years, and played more shows than I could possibly remember. Bars, bookstores, photo galleries, open mic feature shows in the Lower East Village of New York City, the famous Bob and Barbara's Lounge on South Street in Philly, and of course, the legendary Berkeley Hotel in Asbury Park. One night on tour, Jarod Clemons and I played a small underground punk club in Pennsauken, New Jersey called Club Germ. Now let me clarify. This place was literally an underground basement of somebody's house. But locally, the place had a great reputation for some of locals' best underground punk shows. Jarod and I shared the bill with a band called The Dead Flowers. This band was scorching all night. Zach, John, Alex, and Steven. These guys proceeded to blow our minds for over an hour as we passed back and forth the whiskey bottle. Then we got on and played acoustic sets. We had no clue how these folks were going to respond when 2 guys get up to play acoustic music after a punk band. So I took a deep breath, started playing, and waited. And at the end of the first song, they clapped loudly, and it seemed to be going all right. By the end of our sets, Jade and I immediately felt an amazing camaraderie with these guys. Fast forward almost a year later, these are the men standing shoulder to shoulder with Jarod on the scene in Asbury as Jarod Clemons and the Late Nights. Not only that, they're now part of Telegraph Hill Records with some of New Jersey's most prominent up-and-coming artists. In such a short amount of time, Jarod and the Late Nights have taken Asbury Park by storm. And I look forward to seeing the growth and what happens to the Late Nights and my good friend Jarod Clemons. This is Jarod and the Late Nights from Telegraph Hill Records with On the Waves. If it wasn't for heartbreak, what the hell would I have to write about? That is a quote that I use on stage all the time. Just a disclosure note though, I stole that line from this next artist. Alexa Lash defines not only the hardworking woman on any scene, but one of the hardest workers that our scene in Miami has to offer. Long before she stood by herself on stage with the ukulele or the guitar, she recorded and traveled around the scene in South Florida with her former band, November May. A quote of mine I say all the time is that a lot of times on a Friday and Saturday night, talented players are at home, not playing live. What do I mean by that? Well, plenty of folks think the talent is enough to book gigs, curate shows, gain residencies, grow your music or art in the community. And I've learned that it's not. Actually, putting the time into all of those things, it's what makes them happen. Effort, persistence, and even sometimes being able to cross that line into annoyingly persistent is what separates the ones who get it and the ones that don't. Alexa has this blueprint in her head, I believe. She doesn't sit at home and wait for things to happen for her. She goes and she makes them happen for herself. Not only that, but she's also talented on top of it all. Her voice has grown just in the last year to whole new levels from the first time that I saw her, and her original songs have been coming more fast and furious than anybody that I know. Alexa's songs do a great job of exploring self-realization, and let's just say they don't beat around the bush with their meaning when they punch you straight in the gut. Here's a prime example of that. This is Alexa Lash with Ghostboy.
You're dead to me, you're just a ghost. You made me promises and broke them. I'm not taken by surprise, but I still find that I was sad. You've taken the space that I need most. You said words and then revoked them. I've been using like two for the final time. I'm getting mad. You say I'm fine, but fine is just a word we tell ourselves to feel alright. You say I'm blind whenever you need to get to sleep at night. Oh, good night, honey. Hey, ghost boy, no, you're not fooling me. Stop blaming it on history, things you thought
In my experiences, I have found that for so many people, music is life. In my life, I see that a lot of the times it's a small world, and in music, it's not much different. In January, I spent a couple days in Queens, Brooklyn, and New York City. Night one, I took the train from Queens all the way to Brooklyn to play an intimate show for a handful of folks at a place called the Gamba Force. The place was ran by my new friend Christopher, and when I arrived, I was trying to bum a cigarette from the guy standing outside. He said, I don't smoke. Well, at least cigarettes. We struck up a conversation, and within a short amount of time, we realized that we were both from Indiana, and actually both had spent a lot of time in my hometown of Bloomington. He had worked at IU, the college in town, for a while, and his music had migrated him up to Brooklyn. He told me he played the resonator guitar, sang the blues, and how much he loved folk music. I immediately knew I wanted to switch up my set. I kicked things off with Woody Guthrie and Bruce Springsteen's The Ghost of Tom Joad, and the moment that I mentioned Woody Guthrie's name, he gave me a smile and a nod. We've really been friends ever since, to be honest with you. We recently visited again when he was down in Miami for a private show, and since that time, I have spent a lot of time on Marcus Jade's Bandcamp page. His voice, his playing style, his obsession with the authentic, and his self-produced recordings make him, in my opinion, an artist for a generation. And I don't say these things lightly. Things like Black Man's Manifesto, Transatlantic Freedom Songs, Blues in Place. Marcus makes you feel the life the music speaks for, and the blood it sometimes has to shed. This is Marcus Jade with Mackaroni.
Think I swallowed a taste, a lethal dose of reality. Think it's time to run away to the emptiness inside of me. But take me on your top floor of your cinematic vision. I just wanna write this score and let the movie end on a good note. Sing it. It's a cruel, cruel world, and you got tattoos on your hands, baby. But just give me oxygen and I'll let you read me. Start again with a statement instead of an argument. Life is one big reflection. You're not a narcissist just for looking in, but please allow me to explain the meaning of my position. Not a constant awful sentences. Can I ask you, are you listening? Yeah. But it's a cruel, cruel world, and you just got tattoos on your hands, baby. But just give me oxygen and I'll let you read me.
few times already in my own musical journey, I've had moments where I've looked at another artist and I thought it was like looking in a mirror. Maybe the way we played wasn't similar. Maybe the way that we sang, maybe the way that we looked, maybe none of those things were exactly the same. But there was something that connected me to that artist about what we were both doing. That's what happened to me with this next artist. Musically, when I first came to Miami, I had no idea if people were going to respond in a mostly reggaeton, Spanish-influenced music community to a folksy guy with original songs that dip into spoken word. Thankfully, through a lot of hard-working nights out till 4 or 5 in the morning, learning the scene, things have finally started to happen for me the last couple years here. And I attribute a lot of that to finding artists that were very similar to me. Guys that played live, had obscure original music, and were born far, far away from Miami. One night, I went to Tea and Poets in Coral Gables to watch a pair of singer-songwriters that I was told were the regular killers there. Mike Esses opened the show, and Jess Cantley closed it out. Immediately, I knew these guys were both well-versed on the guitar. Jess was all over the neck with very different chords than I was used to hearing, and the way he paired the chords together was very different as well. And when he sung, his voice was taking chances. Instead of doing what was easy for him, he was testing new areas in his vocal range. Right away, Jess's original song, Make It Right, became one of my favorite underground songs of all time. Gotta get back to work. Work out that 9 to 5. Jess, if you don't know him, is one of the world's most sweet people and one of my favorite songwriters that the country has to offer. He is someone that I truly, truly consider a brother. We discover new local artists and music together. We started on the scene together. We celebrated ups together, and we drank away the downs some nights together. Jess Cantley doesn't sound like anyone. Jess sounds just like Jess. What a great thing to be in your songs. You. This is my friend Jess Cantley with Black Grease.
It feels frictionless, like all I tried to hold on to slipped through my fingertips. I can't let some things rest, like the James Taylor tape in my car that always skips. Spinning out of control, I drop my devices, but my sacrifice is late. Can you slow your roll before this takes its toll and you're caught under the weight? Simplify realities, rearrange normalities, resonate with the least of these. Inside the car you'll find the keys. I'm on foot to find the road to peace. Simply I'm spinning on black grease. Waking from a midday dream, like candy and ice cream, to the taste of the real world. Driving back roads covered in green, lost in unfamiliar scenes. I've seen my hope unfurl. Simplify realities, rearrange normalities, resonate with the least of these. Inside the car you'll find the keys. I'm on foot to find the road to peace. Simply I'm spinning on black grease. Spinning on black grease. I'm spinning on black grease. on. Black grease, I say my DI. Why peace when you catch on? Don't release when you catch on. Don't release.
Sometimes I go to open mics if I haven't been in a while, just to watch who's coming up. Who's killing the local venue, who's growing their following that on a Wednesday night or Monday night or Thursday night, that the crowd knows that they gotta make sure that they get to this venue to see this artist. About a year ago, we started hanging out at Roots Kava Lounge in Wynwood, Alapata area. This was the first time I saw Lotus Hill. He was on stage running through bars, one right after another, as a small group of 10 to 12 folks actually were jumping in unison with the guy as he ran through beats, one right after another. The crowd wasn't just sitting back vibing, they were truly sweating and jumping around to his music and his dynamic live performance. I believe that rappers can sometimes have a tougher time than others. The guitar, I'll say, can sometimes for me be a nice distraction if I forget my lyrics or something like that. As a rapper, so many folks are paying attention to the artist use his or her voice as the instrument, and there is no distraction for them whatsoever. Lotus has fine-tuned his instrument and can chill out his flow if he wants, or he can shoot off words like a fully loaded machine gun. Songs like Pot of Gold, No Undos, Rome Wasn't Built in a Day. Lotus puts himself on my list as one of the most original spitters in Miami. I've been fortunate to have him on a few of my curated shows, and it is always a pleasure. He hasn't been lazy during this quarantine either. He's got 3 new songs out during the pandemic, Really, Broken Open, and this one. Here is my friend Lotus Hill with Energy.
Get that, get that, get that, get that. Go high. Yeah, 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 yeah. Energy. Yeah. Energy. Always working on a better me. Multiply like there's 10 of me. It was written, it was meant to be. Energy. Gotta make money, not enemies. Trapped in my mind, guess I never leave. Hill too ill, got the remedy. Energy. Read your brain like telepathy. Won't let the world get the best of me. This life always testing me. Energy. I can feel the vibes that you're sending me. 2-faced niggas all dead to me. Still cooking up with the recipe. I'm stepping up to the plate, ain't no debate. I know I got what it takes. Get the fuck out of my face, this is the wave. You been living in a cave. Look all the fucks that I gave. I've been betrayed, can't let that get in my way. I gotta pray for my prey at the end of the day, leaving them right where they lay. Infinite 93 till infinity. Never met a motherfucker quite like me. About to make a million, multiplying, no division. Got that 20/20 vision with the sight I see. And I'm feeling like a villain with a stained white tee. It is what it is, it ain't what it might be. And I've been with the biz and I trips I see. Yeah, I see both sides and this bitch sign me. This shit ain't coincidental. Take a look inside my mental. A starving artist that been working his hardest to harness his fullest potential. I dropped out of college but still gaining knowledge like scholars with pen or with pencil. I promise to always stay polished, stay present in my pockets, empower my kinfolk. Water on your seeds for the things that ain't been nurtured yet. Always show gratitude, always gotta pay the earth respect. I'll get on any motherfucking beat and gotta murder it. Why you wanna sell out your soul? It ain't worth the check. Level up, what the fuck? From the mug, going for the gold. I ain't aiming for no runner-up. Down for the ride, if you ready, better buckle up. Always believing in me, believe I'm a double up. A mythical creature, more like a lyrical teacher, or like a miracle speaker with these incredible features. Take the tell out the feature, roll it one up like a leaf. You're like a book, I could read you, but I just hope I can reach you. Inspiration I see all around me. Lost for a while, but I'm glad that I found me. I people slice when they try to down me. Ironic how they got a red nose trying to clown me. Energy, always working on a better me. Multiply like there's 10 of me. It was written, it was meant to be. Energy, gotta make money, not enemies. Trapped in my mind, guess I never leave. Hill too ill, got the remedy. Energy, read Read your brain like telepathy. Won't let the world get the best of me. This life always testing me. Energy. I can feel the vibes that you're sending me. Two-faced niggas all dead to me. Still cooking up with the recipe.
This next artist I believe I was introduced to by my good friend Matt Sonata. Matt's a bass player. He's got a beautiful, soulful voice here in Miami. And he's a regular, I would say, at Churchill's open mic. And what a talented guy. The origin story is a little foggy for me, but I believe that Matt introduced me to this next artist on the back patio at Churchill's on a Monday night. She's a regular and a favorite also at Roots Kava Lounge, where I first met Lotus Hill. And I don't remember the first official "Hello, I'm Taylor Davis" type of introduction, but I certainly remember her first performance. She was playing the guitar so soulful. She was singing from deep within her chest, and then out of nowhere, she was rapping. And in hip-hop terminology, I know they say she was spitting. A lot of folks claim to rhyme like that, but this woman was putting a lot of them to shame. From that time, I've always considered Cynthia, or Sinfully Sweet as a lot of folks around here know her by, as one of the strongest performers in Miami. She's got that soul in her voice that I believe truly has to be born in you. I don't think you can learn those things. I think that growl, that sidewalk soul, those things come from a place long before the artist's time. And I believe if you really got it, then you're born with it. Cynthia, I believe, really was born with it. I mentioned earlier in the podcast that we are all standing on someone else's shoulders, and you can definitely hear in Cynthia's voice and performance that influences play a huge part of her sound. Let's just say in every scene there were kings and there were queens. Folks, you know what you're going to get when you hear them. You know they deliver live. You know you're going home with that special feeling that a great performance leaves you with. Someone that does that on a consistent basis, handles themselves with grace, and makes those around them better. I think that those are the true kings and queens of the scene. This is definitely a queen of the scene here. Here's Sinfully Sweet with Divided Avenue. Some folks wear their influences on their sleeve, like me. I've never ran from the covers, never was afraid that people would see my influences by the way I played, but actually the opposite. I believe that if you can see my influences in the way I play, I gotta be doing something right. I had someone tell me once on the road when I was out west, nobody does anything original. We're just constantly reinventing the things of old and hope for the perfect timing for that content. I believe in music there's a lot of truth in that. I think all musicians can hear their influences in their own songs. I know that I can, and I've embraced them, to be honest with you. Marcos Cabanas is a new friend, originally from Switzerland, born in Madrid, living in Amsterdam now. This guy and I, we have a lot in common. We both love Bruce Springsteen, John Prine, Jackson Browne, Bob Dylan, just to name a few. I've been lucky enough to find some folks my own age and even younger, surprisingly, that all grew up listening to these legends of songwriting and storytelling. Keep in mind now, all these guys are now in their 70s, and unfortunately we lost one of the big ones recently. John Prine passed away just a couple weeks ago. A little bit of time before Marcos and I started talking about music and inspirations, I saw Marcos play such a special version of John Prine's song off his first record, Sam Stone. All of this just a day before John passed away. Honoring your heroes, that's what it's all about. If you're too tired to do that, then I think you're just too tired. Marcos, you can tell, has found his voice. He has his influences, and he's found a way to use these tools to create his own songs and his own stories. This next song puts you in the character's shoes of someone dealing with the problem that we constantly sweep under the rug, not only in this country, but all over the world. Hardcore drugs and big pharma ruining the lives of our brothers, our sisters, mothers, fathers, and friends. Marcos puts you in the shoes of someone stuck in this deadly cycle and how they respond to the choices coming their way the best that they can. This is Marcos Cabanas with 53 Cocaine Hill Drive.
There's a place out on the edge of town where nobody goes, nobody hangs around, except for your ordinary men who roam the streets every now and then. Walk through those gates feeling nothing but pain. The devil greets you outside in the rain. Through the halls, stare at the light. Don't think twice, 'cause it's alright. Pay the fee, you get your high. When you're done, you wonder why. Why does it eat your life? You're at 53 Cocaine Hill Drive. Late at night, you come back home with cuts in your arms and a powdered nose. Kids are asleep and your wife's in bed. She says, son of a bitch, where have you been? Blue-collar job on the railroad, and after 15 years you're bound to explode. Want it all, want something new. Ain't got the money, power, motherfucking will to do. Pay the fee, you get your high. Down and out, oh go wide. Takes your kids, it takes your wife. You're at 53 Cocaine Hill drive. Pay the fee, you get your high. Down and out, oh God, why? It takes your kids, it takes your wife. You're at 53 Cocaine Hill Drive. Wrap the belt around the arm. Put the needle in the charm. Fill your vein up to survive. You're at 53 Cocaine Hill Drive.
The blues. Since I moved to Miami in the last few years, so many folks have turned me on to so much great blues music. Muddy Waters, Howlin' Wolf, Little Walter, and of course my favorite, R.L. Burnside. Since the moment I heard it, I fell in love with R.L. Burnside's first recordings, which are all acoustic. I listen to it basically every day. After getting all of this blues music in me, I started looking for blues guys to put into my curated shows. One night at open mic, H.G Welp stood on the stage. The guy was dressed like he was taking it serious. Dress pants, dress coat, dress shirt, black dress shoes, and long blonde hair. He got up on the stage with his Seagull acoustic guitar, and he started playing this next song. He sung in an almost operatic type of voice, yet his playing weaved in and out of the blues and folk music. This was a unique guy. But I just kept going back to his voice. It was probably the most unique voice that I'd ever heard in these genres. But it worked, and not only did it worked really nicely. The guy's songs even seemed to have some similarities to my own songs, Unlock the Chain, Phoenix City. These songs were creative ways to speak a heartbreak, being taken for granted, yet having no one to blame but yourself. H.G Welp has a sound that to me shows Miami is a land of many genres and many sounds, and that we can make room for everybody. And not only that, but we can embrace the different because it's really fucking good. This is my friend H.G Welp with Gravedancer.
If you lay dead leaves on green grass, the green grass becomes dead Why are you dancing on my grave, on my grave, on my grave? Why did you put me in the grave, in the grave? If you pour bad water on good shoreline, that good shoreline comes red shoreline. My grave dancer, baby, none of your books could save me. You're my grave dancer, baby, am I your favorite zombie?
Our final hip hop song of this podcast, and I wanted to end with one of my favorite spitters and one of the folks that I've known the longest here in Miami. My first show on the main stage at Churchill's was a show for Panther Courts that eventually became my own curated show, Unfiltered. It was a coffee house night, which meant free coffee and a more artsy show than you would usually see at Churchill's. At that show was my friend Chris Clark from No Traffic and a friend of his that he introduced me to. This guy had performed on huge hip-hop shows, including sharing the stage with Talib Kweli, Dead Prez, and KRS-One, to name a few. John G immediately was very cool with me. When I was sound checking, this guy jumped on stage and asked me to play something that he could freestyle to. I messed around with a few chords, and the next thing you know, we were off and running. From that night, it's always been family vibes when I see this guy and our boy Soul, who's usually side by side with John. John G does excellent production. He's constantly putting out new content and puts out one of the best live hip-hop performances in the city, bar none. In December, we shared a night together with other artists of all different types at John Everyman's Art Basel event in Wynwood. I hadn't seen John in quite a while, but as soon as I did, I was reminded what's great about our friendship. We embraced like it hadn't been but a day or so since we saw each other last. Always with love. When I hear John G's music, I'm suddenly brought back to standing on the main stage with John that first night at Churchill's and how blown away I was by his wordplay. So let's give you some wordplay from my friend John G. This one features our friend Soul Natural. This is Do Not Disturb.
Yo, like the nights I love the most. Coming to you live from the 47th chamber. Yeah, I said, do not disturb, 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 do not disturb. Yo, when I'm looking for a sound and it's got me, I cross my heart, she's still texting me, Poppy. I can't even hit you back, I'm in a different mode. By the time I finish writing, it's still in the same clothes. Cause I don't really care about the flashiness. Rock some Walmart shit and kick back like activists. It's all bars, then my signal getting worse. See me give you one text and then continue this verse. And now I hit the switch, I forget I'm omniscient. Won't be interrupted by anybody's bullshit. So let me fade like the nights that I love the most. And at the end of every track, pour some cognac and French toast. Heard that west side shit and knew exactly where to go. Go. So take direction, turn your ass around and leave me alone. Do not disturb, 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 do not disturb. Yeah.
Airplane mode, sitting in a spiral, I'm Bango in a caravan on my way home. It's a spaceship out of this planet, crash landed on this earth, but I never planned it. On these streets of concrete and I made it granted. I'm planted with roses around my feet, rather be alone is how I find my peace. Dreams are far beyond my sleep, every day I count my sheep, is really all that I can see. I need the time to focus on me, so leave a message at the beat. Truth is all that I see. Catch a vibe or catch a piece. My mind is on the beat, my heart is on repeat, and I can't get no sleep until I rest in peace. Deceased, get money increase, been bloody for weeks. It's ugly on my teeth, been hungry, still I'm nasty when I eat. This that French sauce on the beat with the syrup and it tastes so goddamn sweet.
Do not disturb, 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 do not disturb.
Here we go. happened to me? Oh, I can't put my phone on vibrate. Well, babe, I was hanging with the boys. Didn't hear it. I'm at the shop. You know it's noisy.
There are a handful of young guys right now that are coming up in the acoustic community circle that truly blow me away. These guys are way beyond their years in playing, live performance, crafting of songs, and their catalog of covers is truly ridiculous. Early in the podcast, we played one of those guys, Evan Rotella, who is only 15 years old. This next guy is only 16 years old, but he's already one of the strongest guys on the come-up. I followed Jake Thistle for a couple years before we shared the stage at the legendary Brighton Bar in West Long Branch, New Jersey. He was covering all the music that I love, and he was putting out more content than anybody else. Not only that, but he was like 14 years old at the time, playing the harmonica on the rack. Let me just tell you, for a guy that plays the harmonica on the rack, anytime you see another guy or girl doing that, you are immediately bonded because you are in a group that is very, very, very small. Jake also played the harmonica really well on top of everything else. He was covering giant monstrosity songs like Springsteen's Racing in the Street, Billy Joel's Summer Highland Falls, Jackson Brown's These Days, The Pretender, and Don Henley's Into the Innocents, just to name a few. Jake lives in Paramus, New Jersey, and he runs his own open mic at Humdinger's, which is a business very similar to like a Dave & Buster's. Jerry Clemons and I played feature sets at this open mic on our last tour and shared the stage with Jake once again. This guy is already at such a young age broken into the Tom Petty community with acknowledgments from people like Mike Campbell, and he's also played some of Petty's biggest festivals across the country at only 16 years old. Jake has also gained the attention from great songwriters like John Hyatt, and he really makes me wish that I would have picked up the axe a whole lot sooner. Keep your eyes on this guy, because I have a feeling in 10 years from now, hopefully he'll be giving guys like me the chance to open for him. Here is an original from Jake Thistle from Paramus, New Jersey. This is Empty Skyline.
I can see the city skyline from here. Looks more like a cardboard silhouette, painted on a gray background of sky, like a low-rent movie set. Everything's falling flat, from the 2D buildings to the vacant streets. The spotlight's out, the film fades black. The city's empty, or so it seems. 'Cause when you go, the whole damn world's asleep. I'm hanging on, yeah, what you sow is what you reap. Hoping I see you in that empty skyline, so I can find you again someday. I see you in my dream, but you're creeping in my nightmares too. And I see you when I'm away. Oh, I just can't get rid of you. 'Cause when you go, the whole damn world's asleep. I'm hanging on, playing for keeps. Oh, I see you in that empty skyline, so I could find you again someday. make the future without you, and there isn't one. But I could never do anything right when you go. And when you go, this whole damn world's asleep. The journey's long, yeah, the slope is always steep. I'm hoping I see you in that empty skyline, so I could find you again someday. I'm sunbathing in the artificial streetlight, but my mind is miles away with you. Nothing on my end ever has the nerve to change, so all the city does is sleep, but I wish I could too. 'Cause when you go, this whole damn world's asleep. I'm hanging on, I hate the way these feelings creep. Hoping I see you in that empty skyline, I'd find you again someday. The journey's long, yeah, the slope is always steep. I'm hanging on, yeah, so is what you read. Hoping I see you in that empty skyline before it stays that way, and I'll find you again someday. I'll see you in that empty skyline, and I'll find you again someday before it stays that way. Find you again someday before it stays that way.
We are down to one final song left for this podcast, and what a bittersweet moment it is. How do you close up so much great music that we've been lucky to share together the last 3 weeks? The answer is, well, you really can't. You just say, here is one more for right now. There was so much good music that I had to choose from for this playlist, and maybe one day in the future we'll be able to do it again. But for now, I thought, who is the best to end our journey together? One name came to mind. Lucas Joelten is a new friend of mine in Miami. We met through Alexa Lash, who you guys heard earlier tonight, and also through my good friend Christopher Mullins of the Mojo Hands Blues Band in Miami. Now, Lucas plays lead guitar in the band and also does his own solo thing. I first spoke with Lucas on social media about doing a show together and was really looking forward to a chance to seeing him play live. I finally got a night off, and Lucas was playing with the Mojo Hands at Lincoln's Beard Brewing Company here in Westchester. I had seen Chris with various variations of the band at least a dozen times, and actually my first gig in Miami was opening for the Mojo Hands at Lincoln's Beard Brewing Company, but I had never seen the group with Lucas before. That night, Lucas was on fire. The bar was packed and riffs coming from Lucas, especially during covers like Who Do You Love and Wooly Bully, were incredible. His technical skills and soulful flavorings in the music made him, in my opinion, the most unique player that the band had ever seen. Not only that, but his original music I discovered days later was also fantastic. He's got a real great voice, one I would compare to somebody like Shawn Mendes. He told me from the first time we met, "Taylor, I take this serious. This is not casual for me. I'm committed to the music." Lucas Joelten is committed to the music. We were just preparing plans for shows together in 2020 before the world shut down, as you know. So stay tuned, Miami. We will get right back to you. For now, you can vibe this. Here's my friend Lucas Joelten with Times of War.
Just like that, we built this trend just to hide it all underground, wasting what we found, we burn it all. Tell me why we fled the sword, dredged the brine. Maybe now the times of war, tears
there it is, my friends. We have come to the end of this limited edition podcast series, local sounds. Tonight, you guys heard Jarod Clemons in the late nights on the waves, Alexa Lash, Ghostboy, Marcus Jade, Mackaroni, Jess Cantley, Black Grease, Lotus Hill with Energy, Cynthia Sinfully Sweet Divided Avenue, Marcos Cabanas 53 Cocaine Hill Drive, H.G Welp Gravedancer, John G featuring Soul Natural Do Not Disturb, Jake Thistle with Empty Skyline, and Lucas Joelten to close out the night with Times of War. I have had an absolute blast sharing with you guys some stories, some amazing music from my friends all across the world the last 3 weeks. I want to thank all the artists and the producers that have worked so patiently with me in this process, from getting me the music to immediately being on board with the idea from the very beginning. I want to thank you all for your beautiful music, the impact you've had on me not only as a musician but as a person. I feel honored to call you guys my friends. And to all of you that have listened and supported this podcast as well as me and my music, thank you. Without you guys, there wouldn't be an audience at all to listen to any of the content. So I continue to be humbled and grateful for that. Most importantly, if you liked anything that you heard tonight or in the previous podcast, make sure you go and download and stream this music. Check out the description of this video as well